So I was outside today doing some spinning, and
You do know what I'm talking about, don't you? You knew before
there was a little altercation between a couple of people that were very close to where I was spinning, and it was interesting. It kind of inspired a video topic, um, but led me to an idea of intervention because these two males,
Like my
was
style?
in some sort of ego
Hit the
contest
subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos.
from something. I don't know what it was, originating about, but they found themselves basically going back and forth in public around so many people, just kind of boldly egging each other on to swing. And these guys are going back and forth and running around and stuff. And then eventually somebody does swing. So they're not all just talk, like it seemed like they were. And most likely they're both homeless. Just for context, it seems that there was something involving property, probably, that may have been disputed. But yeah, these two are going at it, and nobody's doing anything. And I mean, obviously, you don't expect maybe right away for somebody to step in because they're just processing what's going down. But it's just bizarre because I waited 5 seconds and then I started heading over, and it took me even another 10 to 15 seconds to even walk over to where they were at that point because they had gotten a little bit of ways from me. Maybe 10 seconds, so about 60 meters. But then it's just like, what the hell? Because these two guys are going at it, and then I'm saying like something, just like, hey, you guys need to wake up, snap out of it. And I'm trying to pick up one guy by literally his belt. But it doesn't really do much. And then I'm realizing, okay, I'm glad I tried, but these two aren't able to be reasoned with. So then, my next thought after I went back to my spot for a bit was to get the closest lifeguard. And there was another person that had already beat me there, so they must have been thinking the same thing. So, what was the point of that situation? And what was the outcome? So, let's start with the second one first. One of them actually ended up being hit upside the head with a skateboard. So, they both left bloodied, and then the cops were rolling in after I left. So probably one or both of them is going to go to jail too, if I had to guess. So, that's kind of the outcome of the situation. And then what does it tell us, or what did I take from it was, intervention is really, it's case by case, but there's a lot of situations where people won't immediately jump into something. And there's so many reasons why. So on one hand, like, while I'm keen to judge and, ask myself, okay, why are more people not stepping in? The other hand, I can, begin to empathize with the complexity of the human mind. I mean, we have so many motivators, and there's so many scenarios that we run through in our heads based on our life experiences and mindsets, and it's like hard to actually put people under the chopping block. It makes me think, and while I've never been in like any serious physical altercations, I just can't help but do something, in a variety of situations, just to, at the minimum, to address the needs of people and to try to be a Samaritan. It's not about being a hero necessarily, but putting yourself in another person's shoes trying to understand, trying to get them into a better position, because we, even if you don't want to say we're connected, like we're at least related. There's so many relations between people, between countrymen and communities, so there's almost no reason not to help, in my opinion, fundamentally. So that's at the base of my mind. That's how I kind of move forward. But I feel like I do see the other side, and I see the many reasons to not act. And I think fear is a big thing, one of the biggest. Uncertainty, doubt is another one. Apathy is a big one. Confusion, it's lesser, but it's still pretty potent. It's like the idea of hysteria. When people are in a chaotic environment, they may kind of lose their senses and not even realize what's going on. So basically you can apply a variety of emotions, to situations, and they can lead to different outcomes. And we are capable of feeling, any sort of set of those given on the situation.
You do know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Doesn't mean that people that do act are better, but maybe it does say something about their character, in the context of life. And maybe that's why those people are in certain positions. You have policemen and women, you have servicemen and women, and maybe there is something that sets them apart. I'm not in any position to know, because I don't have that career path, and I haven't seen the real side of violence to say what it looks like from the inside. But I just remain curious and kind of project a mentality, an idea that maybe we could do more. Like all the other stuff aside, maybe we could each do a little bit more, say a bit more, act a bit more. The guy that I had grabbed his belt, he was a little bit more aggressive than the other guy that he was fighting with, and that's kind of why I chose to put my hands on him specifically. But he even said, he wasn't happy. He's like, "Get your hands off me." And I didn't mean to, anger him, obviously, but was trying to make a decision in that moment. And then after the fact, I did actually go up to him, and I don't know if he was the one that got hit in the face with the skateboard or if he hit the other guy. But I did apologize. I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put my hands on you. I was just trying to break it up." And he didn't say anything. Looked like he just acknowledged it, but it's kind of like a man-to-man, person-to-person thing at the end of the day. Like, gotta reconcile whatever decisions we made, and if we did do wrong, or if we did hurt somebody, we gotta try to make it up. We gotta try to, balance out the intervention with something positive. If we added more chaos to the situation, then we gotta think about what can we do to alleviate some of that. And I think, ironically, in my good intention, I think I did create more hostile behavior, because while I did separate them for a moment, maybe for 15 seconds, they were immediately back to fighting after that. And the one guy was pissed that people were jumping in the fight and not letting them just do their thing. So all that to say, You know, you can have good intentions and, you know, you can be the interventionist that I'm implying that we should be, yet, ironically, you can probably create a less favorable outcome immediately. So that's something that I should consider and that we should all consider. It's kind of a more meta way of looking at it, because you're thinking more about the consequences and, you know, the ultimate circumstances that will be created versus just the immediate future. So yeah, that gives you an idea that maybe the people that choose not to intervene in some ways might have the right idea. You know, so it kind of gives you both sides of this conversation. It feels balanced, it feels, you know, a bit less unbiased than if I was just to focus only on the intervention part. Because in reality, you know, there's so many nuances and, you know, ways to look at each situation. And well, on one hand, I might feel good about myself for doing something. I also might realize that I might have not helped at all, to be fair. So yeah, that's what it is. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. So take care and peace.